Good morning. Today is the day of Christmas, and the day of Christmas is replete with the stories of kindness and mercy. One of the parables is the return of the prodigal son, the wayward son, who left his parents, spent his parsimony, and came back, repentant, and was welcomed. The word today witnesses another return, the return of the ISIS fighters. Should they be welcomed like the prodigal son, the way Canada is doing, or should they be treated as criminals, the way Belgium and Australia are doing? Trudeau has agreed to welcome those people who committed genocide, burned Christians alive, sold women into slavery, beheaded journalists, and those people are being welcomed. Tears of joy are being shed that they are coming back, and they are being characterized by the Prime Minister in his year-end interview with CTV as an extraordinary, powerful voice walking free inside Canada. I wouldn't mind if that was really true, but what the Prime Minister says is counter-attacked by his own minister, Ralph Goodale, who says and who has warned that deadly terror attacks are likely to increase. And the principal terrorist threat to Canada continues to stem from extremists inspired by the violent Islamist ideology and terrorist groups like ISIS and Al-Qaeda. 190 extremists have just entered into Canada from the overseas. They are definitely suspected of having fought over there, and they are being welcomed. We have become very well conversant with the terrorist attacks. Recently in Edmonton, a man attacked and killed 6 people. In Quebec, people were killed. Burkina saw the killing of Canadians, and slightly more than half of the Canadian-linked extremists are today in Turkey, Syria, Iraq, and the small number which is coming back would give an indication to that large number that today, as ISIS is being defeated by Trump and intervention of Russia, those people who have nowhere to go can find a safe haven in Canada. The report released by Ralph Goodale, to which I was referring earlier, says that these extremists are driven by hatred, fear, and they are a complex group range of individuals, groups, and online communities. They are capable of cyber attacks, and they can cause damaging operations. They can disrupt essential services and critical infrastructure. Now compare the welcome, the red carpet welcome that is being accorded to them, and on the other side, what is happening in Belgium and Australia. This is a heinous group. They have decapitated prisoners and raped girls. We cannot take them down as misguided people. They went with a free will. Prime Minister may think and agree, I agree with that the Canadians are nice people. We seem to think ourselves that way. But does being nice to others mean that we are going to commit harakiri? Which it would happen even if 1% of the people coming back is a tormented soul. I think what's happening in our response to the issues of the Canadians, the Canadian ISIS fighters who are returning, is that we cannot forget the fact that they have spent a few years after their indoctrination fighting the forces of civilization. Australia recently charged a man with foreign incursion as soon as he entered Australia. And he's the first such Australian to be dealt with that. The Belgium government has very categorically stated that they will not negotiate with the returning foreign fighters, and he has called them war criminals. Just a couple of days back, US handed down a 16-year jail term to an Iraqi refugee who wanted to leave for Syria and join ISIS, wanted to leave, did not leave, did not fight. But these 200 Canadians who left to join with ISIS fought with and on behalf of ISIS. They are really the war criminals. And criminals are the worst type. And yet we are welcoming them. As a matter of fact, they should not be allowed to enter the country. And if they enter the country, the first stop should be the maximum security jail. Many people think that they should be treated with care. They may come back because they are traumatized. They have physical wounds and they are disgusted with what they saw. But does the real disgust means showing off that disgust when you are defeated? If they were really disgusted, then they wouldn't have done so. The disgust happens when you commit a crime for the first time. The second time and the third time, it's not disgust. It becomes a habit. And it becomes a pleasant habit after some time. That's psychology. So how can we say that they are disgusted? This is a pretense. As a matter of fact, this is a classical example of takiya. Misguide people into thinking that you are harmless. And then the people become careless, kill them, destroy them. How can you absolve these criminals? And as a matter of fact, leaving Canada with an intent to join terrorist activity is an offense under Section 83.01 of the Criminal Code. That itself should put them in jail for 5 years. Then, how many people they have killed? 10, 12, 15. How many girls they have raped? How many they have sold in slavery? How much drug they have dealt with? All these offenses, if they counted, would mean life sentence many times over. And yet you want to be nice to these people? Are they the prodigal son? They are not. They have not repented. And if they, in case they had repented, they would not come this way. I don't see an evidence of ashes and sackcloth around them. Make no mistake about it. Those who went to the Middle East went with a malicious afterthought to hook up with the criminal groups, with the terrorists. And what they did once there repeatedly makes their crime worse. If they take part in the other times, they should have taken into consideration that they are burning their boats. statement that they are repentant is naive, ignorant, and dangerous. I'm not implying that every wannabe jihadi and foreign fighter who lives to come back to our country is a clear and present danger. It's quite possible that most of them might be really repentant, though it's not possible from the psychology point of view, but for the argument's sake, I'm playing the devil's advocate, it's possible that a majority of them might be repentant. But as I said, even if 1% of them is not repentant, in fact, most probably incompetent diffusers shows repentance is always half-hearted. Just witness the recent aborted or failed pipe bomb attack in New York on December 11th. Once you elect out of your free will to do something and repeat it again and again and again, that only shows your commitment. And when you are defeated, you decide to don the sackcloth and ashes to show that you are repentant, you are sorry for that, is wrong. Here again there's a cultural difference. The Middle East and the Asian attitude is always to pose innocence. And the West always assumes the repentant to be sincere. Repentance is sincere, as I said, only after the first crime is committed, not after many crimes have been committed. These people, left the country by devious means. When they were leaving, they did not declare that they were leaving the country to join the terrorists. That's a crime. The intention was to join the terrorist group. That was a crime, section 83.01 of the Canada Criminal Code. When they committed murders galore, in fact indulged in genocide, killed innocent Christians as well as innocent Muslims, raped women, mutilated women, decapitated journalists. All the crimes, the catalog crimes, surpasses all the crime that an individual can commit. And one single individual, if he commits a crime, goes to jail to pay for his sins and crimes. Why should these people who have committed multiple crimes not only go scot-free, but be accorded a welcome, an embrace that absolves them of all the crimes and sins? Is shedding of 2 tears enough compensation for all the lives lost, for all the traumatized women and the girls, for all the suffering the innocent people had to undergo because of them? Where is a sense of justice? And where is our sense of equity? In case we cannot take a decision, correct decision ourselves, at least let's watch what other countries are doing and then rethink whether our approach is appropriate one or not. I do not say that the approach of other countries would always be right, but that's why you have your experts. Call a meeting of the psychologists, of the trained minds who understand the minds of the criminals. Call a meeting of the jurisprudence experts and then thrash out the issue. But till that time, the issue has been thrashed out based on medical evidence, based on psychologists' report, based on the opinion of the jurisprudence experts and pundits, and the opinion of the majority of the people. Most important, because we are a democracy. Then treat them. But till that time, put them in maximum security prison so that they can pose no danger to you, to me, and to the fellow Canadians, fellow human beings. Let the sense of Christmas not cloud our judgment. Let the parable of the prodigal son not end on a note that would send shivers down the spine of the people in future, and the people would never then want to follow the Christian values. Time is to uphold those values, but let's not forget also the biblical injunction. Render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and render unto me that's mine. Whatever differs from this biblical injunction is not just. Every sinner must reap the deserts. There cannot be any dispute on that. Let that guide the government.